Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we have a special presentation recognizing National Mentor Month. And I'm actually going to come up here to the mic in front to present the proclamation. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I would like to bring a special guest up who's here with us to the stand here with me, Miss Jennifer O'Farrell from Big Brothers Big Sisters. If you would please join me and if we could give her a round of applause. Big Brothers and Big Sisters is the largest donation and volunteer supported mentoring network in the nation and serves our local Inland Empire. Everyone who wants to succeed and have a support system built behind you, the first step is fulfilling one's potential. Big Brothers and Big Sisters works tirelessly to achieve that goal, one child at a time. By pairing children or littles with a matched adult volunteer Big Brothers Big Sisters develop positive relationships that have lasting effects on the lives of our young ones, preparing our next generation for the future. The proclamation that you see here to the left is what we are presenting today for National Mentor Month to Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Inland Empire. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the future of Moreno Valley, County of Riverside, State of California, and nation rests on the shoulders of our youth. And whereas educated, confident, and nurtured children will give rise to stronger cities, counties, states, and nations. And whereas mentorship is upward social mobility, matching a young person with a caring, responsible mentor to build confidence, connections, stability, and to provide guidance, social capital, and direction to set them up for lifetime success. Whereas mentors are an important part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Inland Empire's mentoring movement, and whereas research has shown that children and youth engaged in the one-to-one professionally supported mentoring programs, such as the Big Brothers Big Sisters, are more likely to have an increase in school attendance, improve the rate of high school graduation and college attendance, and decrease involvement with drugs, alcohol, and violent behaviors. And whereas January has been designated as National Mentoring Month, calling on our community across America to become involved in mentoring. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the City of Moreno Valley and its community recognize January as National Mentoring Month. Ms. O'Farrell, would you care to share a few words?
Thank you. Well, hopefully I'm the first person to wish everybody in this room and on TV a happy National Mentoring Month. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, we are 8 years young, serving the city of Moreno Valley, but serving over 300 youth, all matched one-to-one with an individual community resident. So when we talk about the power of mentoring, we heard it from the mayor of the impact that we have. And so my ask today, my invitation is to thank one of your mentors that you've had in your life. Maybe it was a childhood teacher, maybe it was a big brother or big sister themselves, but my encouragement is to invite us to be mentors to our community of youth. We have 200 youth in the city of Moreno Valley that have asked and said, I'd love a mentor. I'd love somebody to show up, stand up, and come alongside my journey and help me, point me in the right direction. And we need our community to be mentors to them. So hopefully sign up at iebigs.org and let's change our community, one youth, one mentor at a time. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Take a picture.
You must just stand on each on one side of it.
Take a group picture. Is this good on spacing?
Yeah, it's fine. Will you take that?
Thank you.
All right, this is go. There you go. All right. And 1, 2, 3. Cheese. And 1, 2, 3. And one more for safety. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful.
Thank you once again. Congratulations. I think, does this go with her?
Yes.
Thank you again. And if we could give her one more round of applause, please. Thank you once again for being here with us, and that concludes our special presentations for this evening. We will begin our regular council meeting at 6 p.m. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to our regular city council meeting here on January 3rd, 2023. This meeting is a joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, city as successor agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, Moreno Valley Public Financing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this meeting to order on January 3rd at 6 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Shalinda Bernard. Please rise. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Here.
Councilmember Marcus is absent. Councilmember Bernard.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem is absent. And Mayor Cabrera.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Staff introductions, please. And before we do staff introductions, since Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Marquez are not here, would like to make a motion that we excuse both Mayor Pro Tem Delgado and Councilmember Marquez from tonight's meeting. Seeking a second on that.
I'll second.
And please call for a vote.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Aye.
Councilmember Bernard. And Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. The motion carries, passes 3-0. Staff introductions, please.
Jane Halstead, City Clerk.
Paul Bradvica, Deputy City Clerk.
Stephen Quintanilla, Interim City Attorney.
Mike Lee, City Manager.
Brian Mohan, Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Michael Lloyd, Assistant City Manager, Development Services.
Daniel Monchek, Community Development Director.
Melissa Walker, Acting Director of Public Works.
Ken Reichel, Chief of Police.
And Jesse Park, Fire Chief.
Thank you. A reminder that the city is currently offering Spanish translation services if anyone is interested in this feature. Before we hear public comments this evening, I ask and encourage everyone participating to keep their comments respectful toward others, especially toward the individual speaking. I embrace and support the First Amendment right to free speech, including everyone's right to speak at this meeting and to share their views about issues concerning our city. But we can be more productive by being civil and respectful toward one another in this meeting. Finally, I ask that speakers bear in mind that comments will be limited for each speaker, and I encourage everyone to refrain from duplicating comments already made by others, other than to note that you agree or disagree with the prior comments. Public comments on matters on the agenda and non-agenda items will be taken up at this time. Any person wishing to address the City Council on any matter should submit a speaker slip to the City Clerk and wait to be identified to speak by myself. Members of the public must direct their comments to the mayor and not to other members of the City Council, the applicant, the staff, or the audience. In order to preserve the meeting decorum, council and staff will not respond during public comments. Any council comments or questions to staff may be addressed during the council closing comments. City Clerk, are there any requests to speak?
Yes, there are, Mayor. The first three speakers are Donovan Sadiq, Bill Redden, and Bob Palomares.
Thank you, and we'll give 3 minutes to each speaker.
All right, good morning. Happy New Year to everybody. It's good to see you guys. It's a brand new year, brand new shenanigans. Want to also say Happy New Year to the staff, and a big happy to see Pete Bleckert here, who got me really involved in coming down here and speaking my mind. He likes to close the show, so that's really good. But what I want to talk about real quick is what I love to talk about, which is District 1. And a lot of construction has been going on in District 1. A lot of progress has been made because if we go back a few mayors back, Jesse Molina said it was time for the District 1 Edgemont area to get the attention it deserves to catch up with the other districts. And to do that, you need the right representative that is going to be progressive enough to push projects that we need through. And it's funny because as I was during the holidays and before the last meeting that I missed, I was talking to some of my neighbors and they were saying, oh, Donovan, this is going on. What's going on over here? We got construction happening. We've got this happening. And I believe when I did speak prior, people kept asking me, they go, is Baca Santa Cruz, is she gonna, run again or whatever? And I said, well, I don't know. She's a young woman, she's got a family and everything like that. I said, we don't know. But right now, I believe we have the right person at the right time to do what needs to be done in District 1. We are moving forward. I'm seeing construction everywhere. And some of you guys that see me, you guys know I'll be on my little moped and I'll be driving through the district and everything like that. And that is one of the biggest concerns, at least in the Edgemont area, that I know it's a little early, we don't know what the future is going to hold, but it has been told to me time and time again that people wanted you to know that you are doing an excellent job. They want you to stay and continue and finish the job that you've already started here. It is important that we get that done because for too long, the District 1 and Edgemont has been left behind other than certain areas of our district. But in regards to the city staff, again, I got to tell you guys, I've learned over the years to work with you guys rather than to batter you guys a lot, which I do a lot. I'll admit that. And I'm going to tell you, some of the projects that you guys are bringing to the district have been phenomenal. The family members and the people that are in the neighborhood, where at least where I'm at, where the park is, which is, you guys know that's my biggest project, is that park. They are so thankful the attention that you guys are giving to the area because for so long we've been neglected. So again, to the staff, you guys do not get enough credit.
Thank you.
Next three speakers, Bill Redden, Bob Palomares, and Daryl Terrell.
Good evening, Mayor. My name's Bill Redden. I would like to briefly discuss the Constitution of Moreno Valley and how it relates to our family vision. There are three components to my presentation. First, our family background as it pertains to Moreno Valley. Second, the Constitution of Moreno Valley. Third, our final home selection. The family background. We've lived in Moreno Valley for 45 years. Now, you're aware of Moreno Valley hasn't been around that long, but we were here before Sunnymead. For 40 years, we lived on about 2.5 acre parcel at Fur and Nason, raised 6 children there. 3 of them have residence in Moreno Valley. I personally retired from the Department of Public Health after 32 years of service. In November 2021, we received occupancy for our custom home at 28163 Bradshaw Circle. Now the Constitution of Moreno Valley, second part. The Constitution of Moreno Valley is the general plan of 2040, adopted June 2021. On page 13, it states, the Moreno Valley General Plan can be considered the city's development constitution, containing both a statement of community's vision of its long-term development, as well as the policies to support that vision by guiding the physical growth of the city. Furthermore, the general plan land use map illustrates the long-term vision for development and conservation in the planning area. In translating the elements of the city structure with the land use designation that describes the character and vision of the Moreno Valley. Final home selection. We selected the Bradshaw site because the current residents in those areas, they're on 1 acre, like the 1 acre we developed. Also because it was R5. It was 9 years ago. At that time, it was zoned that. And along comes General Plan 2040, land use, it stayed R5. We believe in the Moreno Valley's constitution that the city would embrace the general plan of 2040 and ensure that the long-term vision for development and conservation of the planning area surrounding Bradshaw Circle, Bradshaw home will be our final home. Mayor, thank you for giving me the time to express our views on the vision of development as it relates to the Constitution of Moreno Valley. We also totally support the Moreno Valley's motto, where dreams soar. Additionally, I'll speak again at the public hearing regarding the general plan amendment to allow the construction for 37 homes from 4.8 acres. This appeal of the Planning Commission is a denial. Look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.
The next three speakers are about Bob Palomares, Daryl Terrell, and Russell Schaefer.
Good evening, Council. When I seen Mr. Redden, I thought that Mark Twain moved to Moreno Valley. First of all, I always like to thank our police and fire for the great job they do, and just give my condolences to the Cordero family and to Riverside Sheriff's Department for their loss. It's a tremendous loss. Now, Chief Salisbury had said that it's a very difficult job. It's hard and it really wears on you. Mayor Pro Tem also said that at the last council meeting, that, it's hard. It's a very difficult job. But there's a lot of people that appreciate them for what they do every day. They don't get paid enough for what they do. But I hate to follow up this with, but at the last council meeting, we had Mr. David Marcus accused 5 people of, being disruptive or whatever. But what he didn't tell you is that those are the 5 people that keep him in check. It goes back a lot of years from when he started coming around that he's always been committing shenanigans. He's done it all. I've got a list. I'm not going to go over it. But, he deflects the truth. At the last council meeting, when he was speaking about the mayor that he had missed October 19th meeting, he called him a coward. I mean, what kind of talk is that, from somebody that's supposed to be a public servant telling the public that the former mayor was a coward because he didn't get in on his shenanigans of an illegal appointment and Brown Act violation. And if that was true, because he said he spoke with him on the phone, but he was sick, he was in the hospital. And anybody that's spoken to the mayor about why he was in the hospital, you could tie those loose ends up why he was there. And if Marcus did speak to him, that was a Brown Act violation. He said it himself. I spoke to him about what I was going to do October 19th. And Ms. Bernard, I agree with you, and I agree with everyone else when they say, we got to put this behind us. But Marcus always seems to bring it up because that's all he has. He has no forward. All he has is reverse in his transmission. But as long as he's sitting up there, this is where we're going to be stuck. And I agree with Ed that, we got to get past it. And we got to get past it, but he's in the way. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Daryl Terrell, Russell Schaefer, and Pete Blackard.
My name is Daryl Terrell. I live here in Moreno Valley. My late grandfather, he was a police officer. And, for the men and women who protect and serve our community in our county, last Thursday began like any other day. Like most of us, you get up, you probably have too quick of a breakfast, you kiss your family goodbye, and you head to work. But your work and the work of a sheriff's deputy is like no other. From the moment a sheriff deputy put on that uniform, they have answered a call that at any moment, even the briefest interaction may put their life in harm's way. Last Thursday, Deputy Cordero, he answered that call. He was taken far too soon from his family, including his Riverside County Sheriff's Department family, and from the community he loved. Deputy Cordero, along with his brothers and sisters in the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and their families, shared a commitment to something larger than themselves. Every day, they confront danger so it doesn't find our families, carry burdens so they do not fall to us, and courageously meet test after test to keep us safe. They perform good deeds before the call of duty, beyond the call of duty, and out of the spotlight. Time and again, they make that split-second decision that could mean life or death for them and many others in harm's way. Deputy Cordero represented our best, most decent instincts as human beings, to serve our neighbors, to put ourselves in harm's way for someone else. He knew the danger of his job, but he never shied away from it. Our sheriff deputies go to work each day not knowing whether they will come home at night. And their families share that same fear. And last Thursday was a reminder of what that service can cost. So we owe them our respect and gratitude for their efforts to safeguard our families and our city. That's why we need more heroes like Deputy Cordero and the sheriffs that protect our community, because there are bad guys out there and that thumb their nose at the law. We could decide as a people to stand up with them and be a partner with them. And so in the end, we have to do, in the memory of Sheriff Deputy Cordero, is to stick together and take our streets back from these bad guys. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Russell Schaefer, Pete Bleckard, and Tom Gerald.
Happy New Year. Wow. 3 weeks ago on December 20th, 2022, we had to sit through a confession on how Councilman Marquez took themselves to the cross. As they say, taking the fall for the illegal appointment last October, which we all know that there were three, Cabrera, Jemison, and Marquez, who were complicit in the illegal appointment that transpired on this dais that day. I find it improbable that he alone acted independent on the others. It would be nice, as Marquez said previously, he was going to shut the hole that makes the noise. But no, instead, Marquez put his foot in his mouth. The cities of Moreno Valley are not stupid, so please don't insult our intelligence with outlandish confessions. The only positive that this council voted to censor Marquez and Mayor Cabrera so education can take place and how to do their jobs, as they took an oath to do. And Marquez confessed to the people, because I don't believe a word he said, and I am not alone in that mindset. Being a martyr does not suit him. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Pete Bleckard, Tom Gerald, and Benjamin Schuler.
Well, after watching the meetings last couple of times here, and I seen the East Enders come out here in the ranch, and I always call them, they're all got the same name, called Jimmy, and all they ever say is gimme, gimme, gimme. And I'd like to talk about the ones, the horse people out there with their multi-million-dollar ranch park. Now, Judy Nieberger, because he was one of the people on building this city, he got to sell his property because it was junk property to the city on a special deal for $750,000. We've probably got over $1.5 million, maybe $2 million in that damn thing. But they all wanted everything, you know, and that's why I call them Jimmies. But So I would like to talk about the park in Edgemont, the real park where it was redlined. I don't know if any of you know when that vote come on the city, the Edgemont, the real Edgemont got redlined. It had 3 votes: vote for the county, vote for the city, or stay, with the county, city, or city of Riverside. We're the only part, the original red line. Now I would like to know where the park is in that town, and if you spent $3.75 on it, because I don't know about it. I've been there a long time in Edgemont. I've even went by my house where I used to live from grade school to high school on Brill Road. If you go by there, when we moved there, when we had that barracks put there, the only room we had was the S-hole, and the rest of it was open. And I got to see the rafters from the inside as we kind of put the thing together. Now, I went by there a while back after it burnt. Now I get to see the rafters or the 2x4s from both sides, because there ain't no signs on the outside and there ain't nothing on the inside. So all these people get up here and tell you how long they've been here. Why don't you try my time? Now I was there from grade school to high school. And now another one gets up there and talks about the water. I talked about the water way back when the first council got here, when we were at high school. And nobody did anything about it. You're not going to do anything about it now. And you've spent all the money on everybody else but there. Edgemont is the toilet of the town. You've never done nothing with it. And I expect any of you up there now, including the one that runs the East End District. So you can do what you want with it, because I don't give a damn, because I'm about ready to leave out this old world anyway. And everybody that brags how long they've been here, try my time. The first 40 damn years here was a hell of a lot better than the next 40 that we're going through now. So I really don't need you to tell me about how great thou art. And I know you're all sanctuary and everything, and you're going to keep up the same stuff that you did with the first council. You didn't want to change the meeting because you don't want to listen to the people, because half of them are going to be over at the school board and half of them are going to be here. So keep up your dictatorial ways, and don't let you say you want to talk to the people. No, you don't. You want to try to shut them down. So keep shutting them down.
Next 3 speakers are Tom Gerald, Benjamin Schuler, and Christopher Baca.
Tom Gerald speaking tonight on behalf of the Sundance Center. I spent a little bit of time from time to time. First of all, I wish everybody, I hope we have a stellar 2023 and beyond. Up to a good start. And I'll ditto Daryl Terrell's comments about the commitment of our sworn officers, deputies, and that put their lives on the line, as well as our firefighters and a lot of great city staff that do some not glamour work, but important work, keep the city clean and looking well, deterring crime. So I thank you. And I also want to thank Mayor Cabrera for handling that censure issue. I thought you handled it very well, to be perfectly candid. Bottom line, put it behind you, move on, move forward, and prayerfully, accomplish good things. You do good things, the city does good things. It's good for all of us. So tonight I wanted to speak a little bit about the bad guys are out there, and in this case, based on our camera visuals, some bad girls too that take things that don't belong to them. I won't go into details, but working with the PD, but we've seen an uptick in activity. So in fact, I was with the deputy until late last evening, going through our cameras and seeing what we could do, and hopefully more to follow. So, and on a related subject, the city camera system, I'd like an update on that. I think they're not always functioning up to par. And, I went through all the hearings with them. I remember one of the claims was that you could read the label on a cigarette a quarter mile away. I never really expected that much clarity, but God bless them if they can do it. But so I just like to know the status, because they are important and they would help deter and solve crime and get some of the bad people where they should be. And and with that, I want to acknowledge, Deputy Cordero's untimely passing. Both his smile on his face did look real familiar, but he hadn't done a work in our area that I was able to find, but it's just a real tragic thing. And so, we need to honor those who pay the ultimate price. So again, thank you. So I wish everybody a good 2023.
The next three speakers are Benjamin Schuler, Christopher Baca, and Michelle Irving.
Okay, good evening, City Council. Mayor Cabrera, congratulations on your success. New City Council member and the staff of Moreno Valley. My name is Benjamin Schuler, and as you know, I am the founder of the Hole in Wall Inc., which is a homeless drop-in center. And so I'm just wondering what the new city staff and is going to do about the homeless problem that we have in this city. So my organization is still willing, and we continue on a daily basis, deal with the homelessness in District 1. I don't know about the other districts, but I know they come through District 1 on a regular basis looking for help. We are willing to help them. We have been helping them. We have been providing bus passes. We have been providing meals. We have been providing clothing, toiletries. We give them a mailing address to get their mail rather than to be trying to figure out how to get their mail. We're not here to bash the city. We're here to work with the city. I know it's been said that there's been some issues with how we do business there, but I'm here to say, show me where it's at, because I don't see it. And so I've been reaching out to the city, and I will continue to reach out to the city about the homeless problems that we have in this city. We're using taxpayer dollars to have the sheriff department move them from one location to another. And all they're going to do is leave their trash unless we at least get a liaison for the city dealing with the homeless committee population, because we got them, whether we like it or not. They're not going anywhere. We have to provide services, whether we like them or not. They're people. They're people that are hard on their times. We got women sleeping in cars. We got seniors sleeping in cars. We got people with children sleeping in cars. And we can't say everything in the city is great. It is if you stay on the outskirts. But we're in this inner city. And in the inner city on Postal Avenue, where the homeless travel all the time and leave their trash, we at least need to come up with a plan. And my organization, including myself, whether we get funded or not, is willing to participate in helping to organize, so when they leave, at least they have a trash can to put their trash in. I mean, we cannot possibly have funding in the city and we can't provide places where the homeless gather. I know all the camps. I do a lot of outreach here. I know where they're sleeping. At least put trash cans there where they can at least leave their trash, rather than leave it in front of your business, my business, and everywhere else that nobody wants to pick up. Okay, so I'm just here.
Thank you, Mr. Schuler. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Christopher Baca, Roy Bleckard, and Luis Palomares.
Good evening, council and mayor and staff. I just wanted to talk a little bit about, and maybe piggyback a little bit of what Mr. Ben here was talking about, the homeless issue. We got a lot of agencies and individuals out there helping homeless people. As a matter of fact, right now I just dropped off a carload of soups and food stuff in different locations. We got many organizations working with the homeless. The problem is, I don't know if they're dumping them here or what the thing is, but all of a sudden, the last couple of days on Sunny Meat, it's just out of control. I mean, I would say there's a good 30 to 40 new homeless people in the past week that are up and down Sunny Meat Boulevard. I also wanted to touch on that with what Mr. Tom Jarrell was mentioning about the crime. It's out of control on Sunny Meat Boulevard. And, I don't want to touch on this, but I'm sorry, but where's our police officers? I think about a month ago, Sunny Meat Boulevard had a, had a power failure. And basically everybody in the that had businesses, basically it was a mini LA type of thing where business owners just had to protect their property. I stood out there for 8 hours. I did not see a single patrol officer. Sundance Center is being, I mean, the theft it's unbelievable. They're going through the roof. They're going through other businesses that don't have the security to go through the wall to get to places that have merchandise, and it's really out of control. I really think we need to rethink what is going on with our security in our city, especially considering what could happen in the next couple of months with, indictments and so forth. And, if it gets out of control, I really don't know how the city is going to handle such a situation, and really concerned about that. So I would advise our mayor to really look into, I don't know, maybe we need our own police department. I don't know, but I understand, there's a lot of crime, but as far as the businesses and that stuff, I don't see it. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Michelle Irving, Roy Bleckard, and Luis Palomares.
Good evening. First of all, my name is Michelle Irving. I have a nonprofit called A Better You. So I have been pressing my way through, and I just want to first of all say that I just want to give great tribute to everybody that was elected. Let me just go back till December because I got a few things to cover. Back in December, right before Christmas, it was an honor to work with the mayor and to watch him. We gave out toys and we did so much, and to watch him passionately have such a sincere heart to give to the people that were in need. That spoke a lot to me about his character. Moving forward, I have been trying to get the planning to, hopefully get my business up and going. I went head first, got everything set up before I was supposed to, got everything all set for the youth mentoring program, went to business license and realized I had to go through other protocol. Those other protocol I was having a hard time because of what I was trying to do. Long story short, I kept pressing my way through. The mayor, no matter if he had just got, wasn't even sworn in fully, he was so dedicated to say, let's meet before Christmas. But because I respect the fact that his child was kind of having a little cold and he had a lot of other things, he just got sworn in. I didn't want to bother him unless it got to that point. So moving on, I just kept pressing my way through. They told me to bring in a letter of intent. I did that. They was like, give us 2 days. 2 days turned into 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into, I was like, okay. But me having the faith that I have and knowing that God told me that this is the vision he had when I moved out here. And so every time I would meet someone, it would give me a glimpse of hope. One particular night, I happened to go into the city hall, just catching it sit there. I ended up meeting Manuel. So at that point, I began to talk to him what was going on. And he said, you know what, we'll see what we need to do. And with the dedication of such a great team that the planning had, they sat down, we structured it, and we figured out what we needed to do in order to get the building open. I'm proud to say that Manuel done everything from Summer, beautiful person, from Julia, from everybody I met, from Gracie. When I met Grace, she had 2 people that sat down before me, and each one of them gave her just so much props on how she treated them. Fire department came out, passed me. Building and safety code came out, passed me. And I just want to say that it is an honor for me to be a part of such a great family. And what I want to say is, in life, people don't like passing the torch. People like being comfortable in titles. But with the people that is in position, I can see this community thriving. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next 2 speakers are Roy Bleckard and Luis Palomares.
Point of order before my time starts, I've turned in a speaker slip for non-agenda items in A9. Which order are they going to be taken in, and am I going to get 3 minutes for each one?
We are doing, at this time, it is both agenda and non-agenda items at this time.
So am I going to get 3 minutes for each at this time?
No, it's all together. So A9 and non-agenda
That
items is all together.
That is a violation of your rules and procedures. We went through this for a damn year.
If you could please start his time.
So I'm filing a protest officially.
I'm
on
going to pull
this.
A9. I'm
On
going to
what?
I'll pull A9 from the consent, so you could speak then. Could you go ahead and speak
So
on
that's what
non-agenda
I
items?
just asked that
I know.
question.
Can you
that
speak
can
on
be done.
non-agenda items right now? You have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks.
This is for non-agenda items, but council member says she's going to pull A9, so you will have separate time
I
for
want
that
my
item.
20 seconds back.
Go ahead and put up 3 minutes on the clock, please.
He's back. You asked for it. So we get the disparaging comments of, yeah, I'm not going to apologize to the 5 and all the attitude we get up there. Well, you know what? I can still pull them out of the bullpen. And if you thought it was cool, this is what's going on. Deputy Cordero lost his life because we as a people let him down. We let him down at this council. When you had $5.5 million to spend on public safety, you did not let us speak. You did not let Daryl Terrell and Bob Palomares and myself, which are in this audience, speak on that. Just hiring more police officers is not going to do it. We got to reform our criminal justice system. We got to prosecute criminals. Broken window theory, when they start, if we got to use that, we should have had the discussion to use that money to file and do misdemeanors or whatever it takes to fix this. You're not doing it. You're not having these discussions. It has been going on for a year, and you did that. And you still did that. You did it at the last meeting. Came up here and just as specifically on the A's and illegally passed that whole consent calendar. Then we have to hear again. We have been over a year. If you think it's resting, it's not. You think it's going away. Training is not going to fix a criminal. And when we had an illegal coup takeover attempt in this city, it's not going to stop until we at least get an explanation up on the table. Dave Marquez, well, he's not here, but I want to know the law that says your attorney can stop you from saying anything, along with all the other stuff. It's time. Maybe in 2023 we can fix this. Maybe in 2023 we will have some discussions. I want to thank the 2 ladies. They at least put it on the discussion table to let us speak. The 3 boys did not. This has been going on, as Pete said, since 1984. It continues, and again, we'll not have peace until we follow the rules, follow the Constitution, and do the best for the citizens of this city.
Blecker.
Luis Palomares is the final speaker.
Wow. Luis Palomares, community activist. I remember at the last meeting, it was all kumbaya, let's go forward, let's do this. And during the non-agenda, I did that. But during the censoring, I didn't, because I had a lot to say and we waited a whole year, us the people, we the people. But Davis Marcus likes to open it up again, because he came up in here and said, oh, lefty, your left-hand man now, Mayor Cabrera, could you look at me? Your left-hand man to the left of you now, lefty took all the fall. He was a fall guy. He took all the blame. How noble of him. How noble of him to clean his hands and say, it was all me, so the spotlight won't be on you anymore. But that doesn't work. We're not ignorant here. Come on. Give us a little more credit than that. And then he got up and he made a big old speech about, oh, these 5 people. What 5 people? There's more than 5 of us, but what 5 people was talking about? Me, Bleckert, Bob, Russ, Schaefer, the Thomases, Gerald, all of us. Us 5 people, we don't deserve, he said we don't deserve an apology. We don't matter because we're not in his district. I beg to differ. Some of them are in his district. What the hell is he talking about? This man is delusional, Cabrera. Your left-hand man is delusional, and he's making you look bad, but you're bad as it is already. You want unity, but look who you have with you. Nothing's going away. He's still there lying, opening old wounds, making it wrong, you know, making it wrong. So I guess that's the guy, huh? That's your guy, huh? You know, stick by you thick and thin, even took the blame for what you did. And him, you, and Jensen, you all conspired and colluded. And it's still not gonna go away. I know Shalinda and Ed want to go on and get the business at hand going. And I get that. But the last time our city manager closed the meeting saying all the things we did in 2022, all the stuff that happened here, no matter all the chaos and craziness that was going on here, because Cabrera and you and Marcus, we still got a lot done because we got a great city manager and a great staff. That's why we got it all done. No help from you, because you were out there in your campaign lying. I didn't violate. I didn't do this. I didn't. Yes, you did. Unity. You want unity? Good. Let's see if we get it. Because with you up there, I don't know. And when your left-hand man up there, Lefty, the fall guy now, where is he now? And I like the way you said in the beginning of me, oh, let's excuse him. Because all the other times he missed in the beginning of the year, he didn't have no excuses for. And that's what he's going to, we're filing complaints about with the DA or one of those agencies about him. So here we go again. He opened the door. He says, you don't know what goes on.
Thank you, Ms.
behind
Palomares. Thank you, Ms. Palomares.
That concludes public comment on the agenda and off the agenda. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, would any council members like to make their reports and closing comments? We are now going to move to our joint consent calendars, section A through E on the agenda. All items listed under the consent calendars, section A, B, C, D, and E, are considered to be routine in nature and non-controversial, and may be enacted by one motion unless a member of the City Council or any affiliated agency requests that an item be removed for separate action. The motion to adopt the consent calendars is deemed to be a separate motion by each agency and shall be so recorded by the City Clerk. Items withdrawn for report or discussion will be heard after the public hearing items. Are there any council items removed for separate action? I see here hand raised by Councilmember Banca Santa Cruz.
I'd like to pull A9 for a separate vote and discussion.
Item A9 for separate vote and discussion. Any other items for separate vote or discussion? Okay. So at this time, I will entertain a motion by the City Council to approve the consent calendars excluding item A9.
I move to accept the consent calendar A through E, excluding A9.
I second that motion.
A motion and a second. Please vote. That item passes 3-0. That moves us to item F on the agenda, which is public hearings. Questions or comments from the public on a public hearing matter are limited to 5 minutes per individual and must pertain to the subject under consideration. Those wishing to speak should complete and submit a goldenrod speaker slip to the Sergeant at Arms. The first item that we have on public hearings is F1. That is the appeal of Planning Commission decision, Planning Commission denial of general plan amendment, change of zone, conditional use permit for a planned unit development and a tentative tract map to subdivide a 4.81 acre project into 37 single family lots. And we have a report from Community Development.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. This item will be presented by Sean Keller, the planning manager / planning official. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The project before you this evening is an appeal of the Planning Commission's denial of the Bradshaw Circle Planned Unit Development, which consists of a general plan amendment, change of zone, conditional use permit, and tentative track map to allow for the construction of 37, or to allow for the subdivision of 37 single-family residential lots, and ultimately the construction of homes. The project site is located on a 4.81 acre project site on the north side of Cactus Avenue, east of Merino Beach. On November 10th, 2022, the Planning Commission denied the proposed general plan amendment, finding the proposed increase in density inconsistent with the general plan, and found the project would adversely affect public health, safety, or general welfare. On November 17th, the applicant submitted an appeal. The general plan amendment as well as the zone change that the applicant is seeking, will designate the property to a residential 10 general plan and a residential single-family 10 district. This will allow for a maximum density of 10 dwelling units per acre on the project site, whereas the current zoning allows for a maximum of 5 dwelling units per acre. The project, as proposed, would be developed at a maximum of 7.9 dwelling units per acre. The proposed general plan amendment and change of zone are consistent with the surrounding development densities. To the north and west are existing single-family residential developments within both the R5 and the R10 districts. To the east is a vacant site of land zoned R10. And to the south is the existing single-family residences within the Merino Valley Ranch specific plan with a medium low-density residential district and an approximate 7 dwelling units per acre density. The applicant has also requested approval of a conditional use permit to allow for a planned unit development and a tentative track map to subdivide the project site into 37 single-family residential lots, along with a common recreational area for the project's residents. 2 access points on Bradshaw Circle will provide vehicular access to the development. The applicant, in the conditions of approval, is required to construct the full improvements of Bradshaw Circle along their frontage, which allows the city to accept this right-of-way. The proposed 2-story residences have been designed with Spanish, French, and traditional architectural styles and will be offered in 3 distinct floor plans with varying building designs and roof lines. An initial study was prepared for the project in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and found the proposed project will not have a significant effect on the environment. Since the publishing of the staff report, staff has received 2 public comment letters which were provided at the dais this evening. As identified in the staff report, there are 2 recommendations that have been provided to the City Council for either denial of the appeal or approval of the appeal. This concludes staff's presentation. Staff and the applicant are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Keller. Now that brings us to council questions of staff. Are there any questions at this time? Please raise your hand on the screen if you have any questions. I see none raised, and at this time I will open the hearing. Thank you for the presentation. Now we have a presentation by the appellant, if so desired. Would the appellant like to make any presentation? We will give 5 minutes as well for you to make any presentation you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council and staff. My name is Roger Hobbs. I'm the owner of the property, and I'm very pleased to comment that staff has worked long and hard on this community, and I call it a community because that's what we are. We're community home builders, and we provide housing for families and those that many have not owned before. Price range is in the mid to low 500,000, probably the mid 400,000s, FHA compliant. And we are hopeful that this community will add a great deal of energy and enthusiasm to a community that has some unrest. It's the first time I've been before the council, and I've not experienced the unrest. Given that fact, I may appear a little bit nervous, but that's what I've been doing for 40 years. This will be the 4th community that I built in Moreno Valley. So we're not new, but we are excited about bringing a small yet desirable community with what we think is very desirable architecture and floor plans. There'll be 3, 4, and 5-bedroom homes. All of them have a 2-car garage, all have a parking attached to their house, a full driveway, and a community park. So again, I'm here to answer any questions, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. And that will move us to questions of the appellant. Are there any questions from the council for the appellant at this time? Seeing none, that will move us to public testimony and any public speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You may be seated. Madam Clerk, do we have any public speakers on this item?
Yes, we do, Mayor. We have about 10. The first 3 speakers are Donovan Sadiq, Lori Painter, and Bill Redden.
All right. Well, what's our time on this? 5 minutes? 3 minutes?
It's 5 minutes, correct?
I won't take
5
that
minutes.
long. It won't take that long at all. Okay, for those of us that have been here, and I'm Donovan Sadiq, by the way, Edgemont resident there. For those that have been here for an extended period of time, that know the history of Moreno Valley, not as well as Pete, but we just know it. I've been a resident here since 1977, so I predate the city myself. And in my history of knowing Moreno Valley, this has always been a bedroom community, always been a bedroom community. People came out here because the houses were cheap to buy, and you worked in LA and you commuted to Orange County, whatever you're going to do. So not that I'm against this project. Like I said, it's always what it was. I come with a military family, so we always worked close to where we lived. So it was easy for us. But for those people that had to commute, my dad was stationed at El Toro, so he commuted a little bit as well. But the question that we have here is, it's on Cactus Avenue, and the cost of the housing. And it's funny because when I think of way back when somebody says, well, it's an affordable house of $500,000, I kind of have to laugh, and nothing against the builder, but I know times are changing, but $500,000 is a lot of money. And if people have $500,000 in their pocket to buy these homes, we're looking at a possible Orange County type area, because people who spend that kind of money, they're not like sitting in the back alley and, renting and stuff. So is it a good project? In my opinion, we're a bedroom city. We've always been a bedroom city. You guys know I'm not against warehouses, but this definitely was not the place to place warehouses, and we did. So I think that the council should consider this proposal, but I think it should be done with a full council. I don't think 3 people up there should be making a decision in regards to something that's going to impact the community without the full council putting their vote in. So I just want to say that's pretty much where I stand on it. We can build and build and build, but we got to look at the impact of the freeway. I remember at one time during the WLC wars, they said, oh, the trucks, they go out in the morning and they'll come in the day. We have trucks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I live on the west side, right over here, a couple blocks away. It takes me 25 minutes just to leave Moreno Valley, and I'm at the closest point to get out of here. So we got to think about the mitigation of the traffic and all of that. I'm not the expert that can do that. There's more experts to do it, but the decision needs to be made by a full council rather than the 3. Not that I don't have confidence in you guys, but something that's going to impact the city of Moreno Valley should be made with 5 council members. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Lori Painter, Bill Redden, and Tanya Nieto.
Thank you. My name is Lori Painter. I live on Cactus and the corner of Cactus and Bradshaw. My home is the southeast corner, and Bradshaw is a private street. It's a private road. To have this much traffic coming into a development that's already R5 on a private road, who's responsible for the maintenance of that road? With all the construction trucks coming in, when we're looking at having that much traffic. Cactus is very busy. I just have a lot of questions on who's going to provide maintenance of that street. Is it going to fall on me because of a development that's bringing in 37 homes? So that is the question I have. What is the traffic going to look like on Cactus is my other question. Are they going to have stop signs there? Why are we not having this development coming in off of Cactus? Why the access on a private road and not a city street with that many homes? That's my question. But I thank you for the time.
The next three speakers are Bill Redden, Tanya Nieto, and Veronica Outland.
I'm back. Hi. My name's Bill Redden. I live at 28163 Bradshaw Circle. What I'd like to do is discuss this diagram. Each one of you have that in front of you. The idea here is a picture is worth 1,000 words. If you look on the diagram, you'll see right here up and down is Merino Beach. Cactus is here. Lori Painter lives there. I live right here. These are practically 1 acre developments. When I bought the land, that's what was out there. I knew about the R5. That was fine. Furthermore, we're not against development. We are not against development. There's these cul-de-sac lots that you'll see right here, 2 of them. One's 8 homes, another over here is 6 homes. They come out, one's about 3 dwellings per acre. This one's about 4.5 per acre. Down here, below south and Councilmember Bernard's district is a gated community. We're all R5. What I want to do here is show you that this development is superimposed on the existing development in the area and tentative track maps. There's a huge difference. These little homes here, this is no exaggeration. If you look closely up around this area and compare them to this area, these homes right here run the lots are 3,100 to 3,400, or about one of them in the corner is 5,000 square feet. Now I'm saying the lot itself, not the home size, but the lot. These lots bordering here are over 6,000 square feet. And when this was built, they required a transitional zoning. Here, there's no transitional zoning. It suddenly goes from 6,000, drops down to 3,000. And it's amazing. You can actually visually see that. We used this map when we circulated a petition. And to my surprise, we've got over 100 signatures in opposition to this project. So we're hoping that you'll see that what our model was to have dreams soar. We actually believe that, and we believe in the general plan that this is good for 2040. Not a change. This is a major change to our impact, our community, the way we see life as it's going to be. The petition I'm referring to with the 100 signatures will be distributed by another speaker actually just following me to you so you can look at it and keep it on record. I know that's just for informational purposes, but it's difficult for a lot of people to get here and speak at this public hearing. Actually, what I'd like to do at this time is have those people that are in opposition to this project stand. If you'd please stand. So, like I said, we're hoping that you can join the Planning Commission. Oh, one other thing, I almost forgot about that. Bradshaw Circle itself. This was a major issue when the Planning Commission had a discussion. They're very concerned that this project is dumping 359 vehicles a day on our Bradshaw Circle. My concern was they wear down. Who was going to repair it? What I didn't know was by the planning officials, the Planning Commission started discussing, so who's liable for that? Turns out we are. If something happens, we will experiencing, somebody could potentially sue us. it's like double whammy. Here we get all this dense, high density. Then all of a sudden, these guys are coming down the street, and over a period of time, wearing it out. If we're not out there busy patching it as it's getting worn out because it doesn't meet the city standards. So that's a big concern. And that was a big concern of the Planning Commission. That's why they call it a public safety issue. That's why it was, we look at all the issues. That's why they denied it. So I'm hoping that you'll join the citizens of Moreno Valley and the the Planning Commission in denying the project. Thank you very much.
The next three speakers are Tanya Nieto, Veronica Outland, and David Sanchez.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Nieto, and I live at 29193 Alicante Avenue. They're off of Cactus and Redlands. And I would just like to present the petition with over 100 signatures against this development to you.
And if you could hand it to the city clerk, she'll make sure to get that to us. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Veronica Outland, David Sanchez, and Bob Beers.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Veronica Outland, and I live on Cactus Avenue and Bradshaw Circle. I have been in my home for almost 25 years. I was attracted to the area because of the large lots, the Rancho Balago theme, and the Moreno Valley Ranch. Back in 1998, when I moved into my home, it was a different scene. Nothing was around. There was no traffic on Cactus Avenue, believe it or not. I saw the homes built around me, and I accepted them. And the Moreno Valley Enclosed community, I accepted the 55 plus, the Stater Brothers Shopping Center. And so I knew growth would come. So I'm not anti-house, okay? But I'm against this project. And let me explain to you why. We need to go back to why the Planning Commission denied this project. I own the road. I own a part of the road. You're looking at private owners. And you can tell from my voice, I'm very passionate about this because I have wonderful neighbors. They're good people. And I own 130 feet of this road that's 18 feet wide. I'm responsible for that. I bought that road almost 25 years ago. Now, there's a lot that is for sale behind my home. The west end of my property lies on Bradshaw Circle. That vacant lot is for sale. I have authorization to tell you that the owner of that property, Miss Valenzuela, has given me authorization to tell you she's against this project. Going forward, the rest of the opinions are mine. Miss Valenzuela owns 458 feet of this private road. That's a lot of road. I want you to stop and I want you to put yourself in her shoes because she's going to try to sell this property. It's equivalent to what Mr. Redden, who lies entirely on Bradshaw Circle, okay? It's similar to his. Imagine you have to maintain that road and your city is considering accommodating this developer and saying, yeah, sure, let's just cram all these homes. And guess what? Let's throw all the traffic on a private road. Let's slip it through. Now, the planning department, when they heard from Mr. Redden that this was a private road, one person voted for it, Mr. Cobian. And I was surprised because he was the one that was more vocal on why it shouldn't go through, but yet he kind of slipped one vote in. So, these are a lot of cars. There's a lot of growth there. There's a lot of vacant land. And you're sitting there to please listen to our voices. Because you know what? This developer, guess what? They're going to sell these homes and they're going to make a lot of money. A lot of money. And the city's going to win because you're going to get revenue. But we're getting screwed. The people that own this road, me, I'm not a fly-by-nighter. I raised my family there. I've invested there. I've worked very hard on my property. For what? To have tons of cars. I already deal with Cactus. My home has been hit 3 times. Okay. I went from no traffic on Cactus Avenue to Raceway Alley. And you know what? If I don't get into my property quickly, then I can get run down. I've had close calls. The people don't want to stop. They'll honk at you. And so I'm hoping that you would step back, that you would rethink your vote. I know the city wants this. I know that you want to accommodate this developer, but they're going to be gone. It's going to be our problem. There are unforeseen problems that you don't know about, that we're going to deal with. Parking. Some of the streets in this PUD development are 18 feet wide. When they have parties, and they're going to have parties, where are they going to park? Our private road. You're going to leave us with liability. You're going to leave us with a burden. And who's going to help us? We're not an association. We are individuals. You're looking at one. I own a part of the road. And we don't want this problem. If the city wants this, send the developer back.
Thank you,
You
Ms. Houtman.
change it.
Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are David Sanchez, Bob Beers, and Roger Hobbs.
Hi, good evening. My name is David Sanchez. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for letting me speak this evening. I live on Cactus and Bradshaw. I'm also a general contractor. I'm a home builder. I do custom homes, extensive remodels. I am not opposed to homes at all. What I am opposed to is the rezoning of this parcel, and they are trying to put, in my guesstimation, probably about twice as many houses on this land. And as Veronica had mentioned, the streets are not adequate enough to accommodate overflow parking. If you go into the adjacent neighborhoods, you will see that the average house is not just 2 cars to a household. There's 3. If you got adult children, they start driving. Where are they going to park? They park in the streets in these other residences. So my concern with this development, I'm not against developing houses, but I am concerned with the fact, again, as our neighbors have mentioned, is that we are a private road. But access is to this project off of Cactus. I think that will help resolve a lot of this. And I hope they reconsider the zoning and not try to put 37 houses like apartment style living on this development. Okay, thank you very much.
The next 3 speakers are Bob Beers, Roger Hobbs, and a Moreno Valley resident.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council staff. I'm Bob Beers. I'm the civil engineer for the project. I'd like to address a couple, I believe, critical misconceptions that have been conveyed to the council and are carried by some of the residents. Yes, indeed, Bradshaw Circle is today a private road, but from the day it was created, there's been a standing offer of dedication first to the county under the underlying parcel maps that were created. And secondly, on our map, we will be dedicating the right-of-way and our frontage, including the westerly half that's adjacent to us for the 2 properties that are existing, will be built to full city standards. And the Public Works has agreed and has said that upon those improvements being built, that portion of the roadway will be accepted as a public road. Regarding the balance of the east-west portion of Bradshaw Circle, the existing 2 tentative maps that were approved by this city in here recently in 2020 and 2021, those tentative maps will also improve Bradshaw Circle frontage on their side, plus a minimum of a 12-foot travel way to city standards along that edge. Another thing I think that's, I'll start with, we've been in this process for 3 years. And a big part of that process when we started, we reached out to staff and looked at the possibility of taking access from Cactus Avenue. Simply put, the access rights to Cactus Avenue are restricted, and the city policy for the category of that road is to limit the number of access points to that road. And so, simply put, our request to connect to Cactus Avenue was in essence denied by staff and said we would have to take access to these properties from Bradshaw Circle. There's a couple of other things I think are important. Initially, when we looked at purchasing this property and looking at the possibility of developing it, we tried to acquire the adjacent piece of property immediately to our east, which is an R10 zone property. That property owner would not agree to sell the property at any price to us. Had we been able to do that, we could have redesigned the project and taking our access to the east. By having an R10 property immediately to our adjacent side, in essence, at some point, there has to be a transition from R5 to R10. Simply put, we're just moving that transition one piece of property from the east to the west. The Planning Commission basically liked everything about this project. They liked the lot size, they liked the house design, but again, the concern of liability for Bradshaw Circle was a very important concern, and that was the basis, I believe, for their denial of the project. Simply put, that will not exist because the right-of-way would be accepted by the city for public maintenance upon our improvement. Therefore, the adjacent homeowners would not have any maintenance until such time as the city would accept that right-of-way. Our HOA for these future 37 homeowners would be responsible to maintain that road. The again, issue of liability, I understand what these people have said, and simply put, if the city were these adjacent property owners, they own the right-of-way, but it's subject to a right-of-way dedication, an offer of dedication to the city, that upon the improvement of that right-of-way, the city has the right to accept that right-of-way. The road standards, again, the street would be built and completed across our frontage from Cactus Avenue through the easterly knuckle to full city standards. At the request of one of the existing homeowners, though, on the west side, he's requested that sidewalk not be built. So simply put, we will build the road if the project's approved in accordance with the city standard as directed by city staff. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Next three speakers are Roger Hobbs, a Moreno Valley resident, and Tom Gerald Sr. The next speaker is a Moreno Valley resident and Tom Gerald Sr.
Good evening, staff. I'm glad the gentleman just clarified a couple of things that I was going to point on, and that's what I wanted to point on. And I keep hearing private property, private property, private property. If it's private property, gate it. Simple as that. Okay, and that's the problem that I have with this NIMBYism is very similar to this Karenism, where, you know, it is private property, but it's not. There's a lot of stuff attached to it, and, you know, that's not being clarified by some of the people that are, I'm sorry, I get short of breath. A lot of people are not elaborating exactly what it is, and as far as when they say private property. If it's private property, gate it. That's the end of the story. But it's not. There's, like the gentleman indicated, they're going to pave it, they're going to maintain it, and the other two properties, they're going to do the same eventually. And once that other development is done, maybe they'll cut the street through to Moreno Beach. Who knows? There's a lot to be done. And that's my point, is that if we're going to be NIMBYs or whatever the case is, let's get all the facts right. Let's not give half assumptions or basic lies. That's all it is. I don't believe people are being honest, you know. On the other hand, I'll play the devil's advocate. Let's ask these people here that say it's a private road, go ahead and gate it, because there's another road on Kalima and Crystal Hill that was gated. That's a private road. Okay, so if the city allowed that to happen, I asked all these people here that are claiming it's their private road to gate it. And if it's removed, then sue them and tell them, well, you allowed Crystal Hill private road to be gated. Okay, you can't play both sides. It's either you can gate private roads or you can't. So I really don't know exactly what the conflict is here. When they're all private property, it's all going to be developed sooner or later. And, I'm sorry about the inconvenience some people have that think it's their private road, and I don't believe it is. Thank you.
The final speaker is Tom Gerald Sr.
Tom Gerald Sr., speaking on behalf of myself, Mayor Cabrera, council members, members of staff, and the public. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this. One quick editorial comment. These infill, which is effectively an infill project that there has begun to develop, zoning's changed a lot, been a lot of development in the general area, and you've got an older contingent of homes there, and they're always tough. They're always tough. I have a friend that does almost nothing but infill throughout Orange County, and a little bit out here, but mostly in Orange County area, a little bit in LA, and they're always challenging. They're shoehorn jobs. Also, I'd like to compliment the people opposing this project. And again, been here 38 years and been to a lot of hearings, seen a lot of projects, seen a lot of pro, seen a lot of opposition. This group of people is by far the best, most well-organized, most polite, most conscientious, most thorough group of people I've seen. I wish every time there's opposition to a project, people would be this clear and civil, and they did just a great job, and I really commend them for it. That being said, I do support the project only because it's a logical transition based on where the market's going in time. Cactus is a major thoroughfare. That's a big active road. Moreno Beach is another big active road there. I was at the Planning Commission only by chance. I didn't know the developer. I just saw it. I spoke in favor of the project, but the linchpin there was the private road issue. And I did speak to one of the commissioners after the meeting, and candidly, that commissioner told me point blank, said, I think we messed up. I didn't get the opportunity to share with them that they were approving a tentative map. A tentative map, you can put a lot of conditions of approval on. And I think you would still have that opportunity. This is not a final map. So let's say you did approve this tonight, or anybody did approve it. The reality is it'll go through probably at least a year of what we call final engineering, where certain conditions will be met, where if they can't be met, it can't be satisfied, you would have the right to say, hey, you can't go forward. And because I've been in the business, so I know, how it works. So, there's safeguards there. As again, I can respect the people for, they got a certain lifestyle. This is a difference. And, if I was one of them, I might not be speaking in favor of this tonight, but I'm just trying to look at the big picture. And but I will give them kudos for a very well orchestrated, very well presented opposition to a project. And the developer, I think, has been very clear and civil too. So to your favor. Thank you.
One final speaker, Luis Palomares.
Luis Palomares. Well, I think it's a great project. And a lot of projects that are coming, houses and apartments, are good projects. But the thing is, we always have a problem with the parking. They never give you enough parking for any of these properties. And then a lot of times they're giving tickets on a certain, you can't park on the street. So if, I don't know which way they're going with all this, but whatever you do, Make sure there's something there for the parking, because there's no people, there's not two people living in a house no more. You got children living at home now. You got 4 cars in that driveway now. You know, if you got a car garage, you got 2 in the garage, you got 2 outside, and who knows, you might want to have still one on the street. So there should be enough parking. There shouldn't be ticketing if they got to park on the street. That's one thing. Also, as far as 10 houses, isn't it? I'm not sure. It's zoned for 5. They want to change it to 10. Isn't it 7 houses? They're building 7 houses on that R10, or could I be wrong? I don't know. On another note, also, as far as, can't the city buy the road and take responsibility so these people will not be liable? Because what they came up here and said, I don't know all the ins and outs about it, but they're believing they're going to be liable if something happens on there. They're saying the road's not wide enough as it is. So can't the city come in and do something there with the developer? There's other ways we can go about this, but I guess hopefully, whatever which way you go with it, the residents don't seem to want it there, and they got their reasons why. Where I live, there's a lot of traffic up there too, and I didn't want a lot of that there, but it's there, and hey, here we are. And we just got to make the best of the situation. So hopefully whatever comes out of this, you take it and tweak it. And like I believe somebody else said that it should be a full council to do this, a full council. But whatever is going to work for this council today and the residents and the developer and the city, well, let's see what happens. Thank you.
That concludes public testimony on the public hearing item.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That moves us to appellant rebuttal, if so desired. And now is the opportunity for the appellant to rebut.
Again, Bob Beers, civil engineer for the project. Again, we want to thank the council for your consideration. We are not opposed, first of all, if this council would want to defer and wait to have a full 5-member panel for your deliberation. So we would not be opposed to that. We had requested the continuance from the last city council meeting to provide an opportunity for the council to, because of the subject matter, to have an opportunity to look and review the project. Regarding parking, we actually meet and exceed the city parking requirements on site. We have a park that's, internal and open space area that has, some, nice parking that's associated with it. We will look to the council for your direction and discretion. And again, thank you. If you have any questions, we are happy to reply, or I'm sure staff could respond. But I guess my last point, though, is that, again, when the underlying parcel maps were recorded that created the lots that the existing homeowners live in, the offers of dedication were made to the county of Riverside because this area was unincorporated. And so those are standing offers of dedication. Upon the improvement of that street, the city then has the mechanism in place to accept those offers of dedication for maintenance. And simply put, I believe in discussion with city staff, with the other 2 tentative maps on the long east-west direction, the 400-something foot direction that was mentioned by one of the property owners, that street will substantively be completed by the adjacent approved projects that are both currently going through final engineering design with the city. And staff has told us that they would work with those applicants to try to get the full street improvements built at that time, and then have the street accepted to address the liability concern. So we appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I will close the public hearing. And that brings us to council deliberation if desired. At this time, if any members of the council would like to deliberate, please press your speaker slip or speaker button, and I will call on you. We do have a request to speak from Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Sean, can I ask questions at this moment?
It's technically council deliberation, but
I think it's because we heard conflicting messages during public comment. So I have questions about the privacy, the ownership on the road and this dedication. Who's the best for that?
I'll just call on city attorney or someone from staff to, if we
Michael?
go back to questions of staff, number one, can we do that? And if we do that, what would that entail?
As the presiding officer, you can't permit that. And so unless we come up with new information, you do not have to reopen the public testimony period.
Then I'll call, oh, is that okay then?
So we, if we go back to questions of staff, we don't need to go back and open the public hearing and everything, correct?
Correct, unless staff presents new information. That's not contained in the staff report or presented.
Okay, so well, I'll allow one round of questions of staff at this time.
Can you heard the public testimony. I hear that the homeowners will be responsible for damage, injuries, and that echoed the concerns from the Planning Commission. And then I heard about roads that were being dedicated, but I understand that the road's not complete. So the east side is, could you give us a little rundown on who's responsible and the ownership of those roads?
Sure. So as was stated during the testimony period, the underlying parcel maps, those offers of dedication have been made. They were offered to the county. They stand in place. The city can act on it at any time. So the long-term plan for Bradshaw Circle has always been for it to be a public street. The reasoning why it's not currently a public street is the roadway was not constructed to standards. So as this project is conditioned to build the street to our current city standards, that east leg of the roadway would then be available for us to accept it as a public street. And as was also stated, the adjacent tracks to the west of this particular project, as those improvements come online, then the city would be in a position to start accepting those portions of the street for public maintenance as well.
Could these be accepted at different terms?
Correct.
At different times, but the city is already committed to accepting these? I understand those offers have been in place for many years.
That's correct.
Will the city take ownership before the 379 cars pour onto that road?
So as was also mentioned, there's a transition period from when the developer is building the project. They would assume responsibility. Once the improvements are inspected and deemed complete, then the city would take over maintenance responsibilities at that time.
That before the houses are sold?
That would depend on how quickly they sell, quite frankly. So the improvements would need to be in place before the homes would be occupied, if that helps.
Okay, and then I understand that it's currently 4.8, so that would give allowance of 24 homes. So we're really just talking about adding 13 more homes. That the existing plans are for 24 to 25 homes.
The math sounds correct to
So
me.
that is coming, would not need any more approval. So what we're talking about is approving 12 more homes in this 4.8 acres.
That's my understanding, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from any other members of the council?
I have no questions.
Okay. And so we will move now to council deliberation at this time, if so desired. Would any council members like to deliberate or make any final comments at this time? I see Councilmember Bernard with her hand raised.
So I've heard everything that the residents are saying. I've heard what the developer is saying. I also have heard from residents that have said, as well as the developer, that they would like to see a full council make this decision. Although I know part of it lies in my district. I know that Councilmember Marquez has a portion of this district also. So I do feel, and I would look for support, that we make a motion to postpone this until we have the full council here. just because I want every council member that would be members would be affected by this to be able to have a say so, and to hear the same things that we're hearing also. Yes, I'm making a motion to postpone.
Thank you, Councilmember. And I would just reiterate the comments that Councilmember Bernard just said, and I would support that. I think it's only right that we do that. So seeing there's a motion on the floor to continue this item to our next regular city council meeting, before we entertain any second, would staff like to say anything?
Mr. Mayor, just want to clarify for the record that the public testimony period has been closed. So if this matter is going to be continued to our next regular meeting, we pick up from where we left off. And it's going to be critical that your two absent colleagues review this meeting tonight on YouTube, just so they can catch up with everything. And they'll have to state that for the record when they participate in the continued public hearing.
The public comments will not be allowed or questions from staff. So our colleagues would not be able to answer any questions, ask any questions from staff.
Well, as the presiding officer, Mr. Mayor, you might want to take that into consideration, and you could allow them to ask questions of staff to get up to speed. So basically, again, we just pick up from where we left off.
Thank you. So yeah, if we decide to continue it, then we can decide at that time, at that council meeting, if we will open it up again for council questions of staff, and or do we have to decide that right now?
No, you don't have to decide that right now.
Okay.
And also want to point out too that since we have an ordinance and several resolutions here, it requires 3 affirmative votes. Because we have 5 members on the city council right now, we have to comply with the government code section that requires 3 affirmative votes for all ordinances and resolutions.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. So there is a motion by Councilmember Bernard to continue this item to the next regular city council meeting, and I'll second that motion. Please call for a vote. Okay, the motion passes 3-0, and that continues this item to our next regular city council meeting. And that moves us to item H on the agenda, which is items removed from consent calendar for discussion or separate action. And there was one item moved or pulled for a separate vote and discussion by Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz. That was item A9. So at this time, let me go back here. So we will start off first with public comments for item A9. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
We have 3 residents that asked to speak. Roy Bleckard, Donovan Sadiq, and Luis Palomares.
So this has been a load of contention again for another 35 years that we've been at this. So when I opened up the agenda item and I looked at the appointments for the interagency committees and the subcommittees, which the council members serve directly on and have the authority on that, look very interesting. I'm looking at most of it is Cabrera Marquez, Cabrera Delgado, maybe a Bernard throw it in there. But what was the glaring part of it? Of all of those committees, Ms. Baca Santa Cruz wasn't a primary on any of them and was only an alternate on one. We had a mayor that campaigned on bringing everybody together and let's put all this stuff aside. And I even said in the last ones, I didn't think it was, right that some others got pitched out or that, but that's the way it went. But as I understand the process now with our directly elected mayor, the mayor makes the appointments and the decisions on this. I'd like to hear from the mayor of how he came up with that particular setup, because it looks like just like the same setup we've done for 35 years. And if we're going to get along, if you're going to hold out that olive branch, you might hate the person sitting next to you when you walk out these doors. But when you're in these chambers, when we're all in these chambers, we are doing the business of the people. And we should let those attitudes and politics and crapiola set aside. And I mean, I don't know, maybe it needs some more explanation, but it looks like the mayor took a big chainsaw to the olive branch that he proposed that he was going to bring everybody together. So again, part of this, and I've said, we don't have to do that. These appointments could be agendized items. You could have a discussion out here of who wants what, because there could be extenuating circumstances. Maybe somebody has a work day on that and they can't serve with that, and that's all fine and dandy. But in this era of supposed transparency, we should know that. We, the people, should know that. We should have a right to come up here and recommend or advocate for the people we want on the RTC committee or WRCOG or JPA. Not have one person. It's ultimately your decision, but let's include us.
Thank you.
The final two speakers are Donovan Sadiq and Luis Palomares.
Hey, we are doing great. Time is running. That's really awesome. When you took the oath of mayor and you said, hey, and Ms. Bernard said it as well, hey, let's move forward, let's do what we got to do, whatever. You've got to lead that by example. And I'm not going to follow exactly what Roy said, but I agree with everything what Roy said. Sometimes, as the politician that you want to be, whatever your aspirations are, I've heard rumors you want to be the first governor or something or whatever. If you're going to do that, sometimes you got to play ball. Ronald Reagan, one of the greatest communicators and presidents that we have said, has said, I'd rather have 20% of 100 than nothing of 100 or something of that nature. You guys know what I'm talking about. 80% of something is better than not getting anything at all. And sometimes you got to just say and play the game and say, hey, let me give this person a piece of this. Let me give a person a piece of that so that we could keep the peace. I am sick and tired of coming up here and, you've got reporters in the audience and they're writing so many bad things about Marino because there's never any peace in this chamber. And it's because of the mayor or the council people that we're not getting along with all these little agendas that we have going on. Now, my council member is Baca Santa Cruz, and I was a little put off at the fact that it seemed like she was edged out of some of these committee meetings. Now, call me, maybe a favoritism thing or whatever, but a good portion of District 1 is adjudicated to that base. So it would make sense to either rotate the position, but I would put the District 1 person that's closer, to where that area would be. That's just me. But you have the discretion to do what you like, Mayor. But if you want this stuff to simmer down, you have to lead. And if you don't want to lead, then get off the pot. Let somebody else do it. Because it's going to continue and continue and continue. And I've said several times before, there's only one reason that brings me up here is when I'm pissed off and I'm not getting the stuff that I need in my area. Baca Santa Cruz cannot do certain things without you putting it on the agenda and doing all the stuff that you got to do. So man up, take the position that you ran for and do what you need to do to lead the city. You can't even look at me in my face as I'm talking to you. And this is what we're talking about maturity. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Sadiq.
The next two speakers are Luis Palomares and Tom Gerald Sr.
Wow, here we go again. I agree with the last two speakers. They said it all. What's left to say? It's vindictiveness from Ulysses Cabrera because he got censored 2 times. It's vindictiveness, and he shows it. His actions show it. Where's the integrity, the honesty, the ethics that you were talking about at the last meeting? Where are they? Where are they? Where did you leave them at the last meeting? I mean, come on. It's so obvious. Everybody in the room could know. Everybody could see it. Anybody that knows what's going on in this community, even your supporters, they even say, wow, really? You know how you're going to look running it that way? Just you and Marcus, and you throw a few this way and that way? Like when you nominated Ed, you didn't open it up till you said your big speech about all this and all that. And then you opened it up, but you knew already they were going to, 3 of you are going to vote. And that's good. Ed's a man for the job. I support him. He's my council member. But you know how many you said before you got up to all the bull? You know, Ed, and Ed, we didn't get along. And well, we don't always agree. And you said 10 knows. Why? Can you look at me, please? Can you look at me, please? Man up. Maybe you're too small. You can hear me? Well, you can't even give me the common decency to look at me? Wow, that tells me who you are. Vindictive, revengeful. You want it all for yourself? Wow, somebody said about the governor, you want to run for the governor? Oh, no, you said the president's seat, right? You want to run for the president's. Wow, you're never going to get nowhere this way. Only on your lying campaigns that you lied to get in this seat, lied. You violated the Brown Act to get in the seat. And you said, let's bring unity at the last couple of meetings.
Please keep your comments to this item.
Don't tell me what to say. This is my First Amendment right. This is my First Amendment right.
Please keep your comments to this item.
Don't take my time away. You use some of my seconds, put them back. Don't tell me what I could say and what can I say. You want a lawsuit? Let's do it then. I'm ready to dance. I am so sick of you. You're vindictive, Ulysses Cabrera. You're a liar. No integrity. You're a small man. It's all about you. It's always about you. It's not going to be that way. We're still going to be here because I took the high road at the last 2 meetings and I just left it alone. But you opened it up again with your lies. Marcus opened it up with his lies. These 5 people. And don't tell me what I could say and what can I say up here. Because if you want to march me up with an officer, there's 3 in the room. Tell them to march me out then. I dare you. Go ahead. I challenge you. You got to grow up. You got to grow up.
Thank you, Ms. Palomares.
The next two speakers are Tom Gerald Sr. and Christopher Baca.
Tom Gerald Sr., again, speaking on behalf of myself, Mayor Cabrera, council members of staff, and the public. Thank you for the opportunity to put our slip in. And I'm glad he pulled this item. And because if I understand it, I think this has, in part, a lot to do with something we implemented when we first had popularly elected mayor, which a little history on that. I was one of the first people, I won't take solely, I mean, a lot of people favor it, but I was on the bandwagon early for popular elected mayor is continuity of leadership and a myriad of reasons. One of the things I didn't like when we went to that, and I didn't know it till after the fact, was how much concentrated power there would be with the mayor. And candidly, I didn't like that. But the ship had already sailed, and it was, the die was cast and hadn't been a hot issue. And candidly, former mayor did a decent job. And so I'll give him chops for that. That being said, I do like the idea of having full council input on these things. Earlier, I mentioned a dear friend of mine that does a lot of infill building. And as I like to tout my tenure here, he dwarfs me, not only in one community, but he's been all over Southern California doing public hearings and stuff. So he knows how these little bodies work, and he's really got them wired. And he respects him, but he said something once when we were talking about, I was nominated for planning commission, so it came up and we were talking about it. And he asked how our system worked at that time. And before I could even reply, he said, well, most cities, what they do, he said, each council person picks one, and then it's generally a body of 7, and then the other 2 are picked at large. They vote on, and nomination can be brought for. And I wouldn't mind I'll call it a bonus pick by the mayor. Mayor gets 1 extra freebie. I mean, but I think it's a lot of concentrated power, and I think it's better if we distribute the representation throughout the community. And that means I'm going to get people on those commissions that I don't align with, but hey, it goes with territory. And I just think that's good governance and better representation of the people. So I did want to comment on that. And so thank you for allowing me to put my comment in.
The next speaker is Christopher Baca.
Good evening, Council. I just wanted to talk about some of the regional committee appointments and some of our council members' status and, the overall community, their standing in our communities. And, we have some really great people here. We have Mr. Ed Delgado that's, just below our sheriff. He's very, very, interesting person in our community, and he's our mayor pro tem. And we got our 2 public servants here that probably have really good degrees and high positions in government and so forth. And then we got the other 2 that I don't know. But anyhow, the point is that I think we need to take the emotions and the the history of what's going on as far as the mayor's reasoning and ways of appointing people. You should look at their status, look at how they affect the community. I don't mean to badge Mr. Marquez, but in reality, what's the point? I don't understand why he would be appointed to anything at this point. We need people that are going to make a difference, not just take up room and, just it's really a social thing for certain elected officials. It's just social, and, they really have nothing else to do, but, so I would recommend you look further into their backgrounds and the possibilities they're going to bring to our community rather than, emotion and vindictiveness and so forth. So, I think we're a little late on this at this appointment, but for the next one, if, you can continue as mayor, or if there's anything available, you should really reconsider how you do the appointments. Thank you.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you. And that brings us to questions of staff. If there are any council questions of staff, please click your speaker button. Okay, seeing no questions of staff, and we've done public comment. That brings us to council deliberation. So thank you to the members of the public for sharing your thoughts and your input on this item. I just want to share a few things here. So what was this, over a week ago, staff reached out to me and asked if I wanted to bring this item to the agenda to make appointments. As you know, our former mayor is no longer part of the council, and we have a new member of the council as well. And these boards and commissions make extremely important decisions regarding funding, land use decisions, et cetera, along with representation. And unfortunately, one of the things that I've heard time and time again is that Moreno Valley will oftentimes miss these meetings and we won't have someone at the table. So that's definitely one of the things I want to address. And so to make sure that we make these appointments and have that representation at those tables, I was recommended by the city attorney to reach out to all the council members and ask which boards and commissions they would like to serve on. So I sent that email out and heard back from Mayor Pro Tem Delgado, but I did not hear back from any other members of the council. And again, this was to hear from all members of the council what boards and commissions they want to serve on. And the only person I heard back from was Mayor Pro Tem Delgado. To this day, he's the only one who emailed me back. And so, with that being said, I know that all of us have different schedules. Some of us are busier than others. And so I want to be as respectful as possible of everyone's time and schedule. That's why I made the effort. I went the extra mile to try to get input from the entire council. I didn't have to send that email, but I did because I'm trying to be as fair and as reasonable as I possibly can. And so since I didn't get a response, I kind of took that as, well, maybe some of the council members don't want to be appointed to some of these. But what has happened in the past, because I've been a part of it, was that former mayor would propose these nominations as slates and wouldn't allow us to make changes to them. And he would say it's the entire slate or nothing. And I thought that was pretty unfair, but it is what it is. And we're here today. So as some members of the public have stated, as mayor, I have that authority vested in me to make nominations. And again, I'm trying to be as transparent as I possibly can. So with all that being said, I definitely want to hear from the rest of the council. Unfortunately, I thought we were going to have a full council today, but earlier today, Mayor Pro Tem called out. And then just before we started the meeting, Councilmember Marquez called out. So we're down 2 council members, something I definitely was not anticipating at all. And so at this time, since we are in deliberation, I welcome the members of the council to share your thoughts, give me your input. I want to know what boards and commissions you would like to serve on, and definitely want to be open about that so that the entire public can hear what everybody has to say. And once again, these boards and commissions, some of them, if we don't make appointments to them, some of them, unfortunately, there won't be representation on, which will be temporary, right? We can always, at another council meeting, come back and make these nominations. But what I don't want, and what I'm asking for the entire council for, is that we don't allow this, maybe a disagreement on one board or commission to prevent us from having representation on these boards and commissions. That's what I don't want, because we have to make sure that we're getting things done. So I just wanted to make sure to clarify that, because I've heard members of the public saying that I'm trying to, be vindictive and all. That's just not the case. So at this time, I want to hear from the other council members what boards and commissions they want to be on. I welcome it and look forward to hearing what you have to say. So at this time, if you would like to speak, please hit your speaker button and I'll make sure to call on you as well. So first up here, we have Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz, followed by Councilmember Bernard.
I understand that you said that you sent an email to us, but the Brown Act prohibits us speaking to more than one person on the council about these appointments.
The city attorney gave me that
So
advice.
because I had spoke to somebody, I did not reach out to you. I wanted to do this out in open session, discuss it as it comes to us, because I will not allow you to make me do anything illegal, immoral, or unethical. You will not bring me down. So I am bringing this now in open session, and I'm telling you that the interagency assignments are you and Marquez completely. I believe that I should be appointed to either the RCTC, the School District's Joint Task Force, or the March Joint Powers Commission as a representative of District 1 for the interagencies. Also, isn't the Citizens Public Safety Committee done? Didn't we? It's
Yes.
right. Why are we making appointments on that?
And Brian, if you could clarify that one, please.
Yes, Mayor, Council Member, the Citizens Public Safety Committee has sunsetted via resolution on June 30 of 22.
Okay.
I believe it was just an oversight.
Okay, so then let's not appoint anybody on that. And then I ask that I be appointed to an interagency either March Joint Powers, School District, or Riverside County Transportation Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, just to clarify, per the city attorney's advice, that email was sent out. Mr. City Attorney, if you'd like to add to this, feel free to.
Yeah, so I've advised the mayor that it was appropriate to go ahead and send out a one-way email to each council member who were blind copied. And it was critical that he not discuss anybody's interests in any of the committees or commission seats with more than one other person. And then the issue that we had with Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz is that she informed me that she had already talked to another council member. So my advice to her was, yes, you cannot respond to that email to the mayor.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you clarifying that. Next, we have Councilmember Bernard.
So I do acknowledge that I did receive this email. I also want to point out that the email was sent at 5 o'clock on Wednesday with a request to get back to you with feedback by 12 p.m. the following day. So there wasn't even 24 hours for us to review the different boards and commissions. So for me, it kind of felt like we were kind of under the gun because we needed to get the agenda posted. So I want to make that clarification. So yes, you did send the email. Also, I like Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz have the issue of, was this going to be an issue of a violation of, because if there's already a conversation with one council member, then to have one with you would mean that I would be violating the Brown Act. So while I understand that the city attorney sent this out, advised you to send this out, there was nothing in this email that said that. There was nothing that said that it was okay for us to respond and who was all involved in the conversations. So I think that that's one of the things that probably needed a little bit more clarification, as well as I like Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz feel like this should be done out in the open. I do feel like the concentration is probably, I'm looking at the list, and while I'm not saying that I have a problem necessarily with some of the interagency things, I did notice that one of the council members was not listed on some of these. And so in the interest of spreading everything, making sure that we're all equally accounted and we're all equally united, I felt like we probably should have, since it's all concentrated in you, thought about who else we can put in certain things. So it's not looking like one person is doing all of these things throughout the day. And if you needed the conversation to kind of feel like, okay, well, do they want it? Do they not? I think a simple follow-up email or a simple phone call could have sufficed also. So I think that's some of what you see happening here. And also that she's correct in that there are certain things that people should be on based on probably their districts, but we should also rotate it throughout the year, which in previous city councils has been an issue. Things were not rotated. They were all conglomerately held by certain sections. And so we want to make sure that these things are spread around, that everyone's equally represented and everyone has an equal shot, and it's not a concentration.
Thank you, Councilmember. And once again, I just appreciate, the feedback, because this is ideally what we would do, right? Have this conversation out in the open and have a full council. Unfortunately, we're down 2 council members. So, the issue with the Brown Act, that was a concern to me as well. And staff can attest to that as well, because that's why I asked the city attorney, right? What we can and cannot do. Because I wanted to make sure to get input from the entire city council. So seeing as we don't have a full council, I think it's best that we have the other 2 council members here so that we can all deliberate on it, have a full discussion on it, and also have input from the 2 council members who are not here. So I think, unfortunately, some of those boards and commissions, I know there's meetings coming up here over the next couple of weeks. So hopefully we could still get business done on those boards and commissions. But again, I think it's best if we revisit this item. I've heard from one council member, Baca Santa Cruz, what boards and commissions she wants to be on. Councilmember Bernard, are there any specific boards and commissions that you would like to be appointed to or taken off according to the current list?
No. I just want what's fair.
Okay, so you're fine with what's there right now?
I'm fine with what's there, but if it needs to be shifted in order for it to be spread evenly, I'm fine with that also.
Okay, thank you. And Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz, do you mind just stating one more time what I think you listed off a
I
few there.
listed
So do you mind-
interagency ones, right, and they are all currently assigned to you, so that would be something that you could say.
Which ones would you like to be appointed
March Joint Powers, School District City Joint Task Force, or Riverside County Transportation Commission.
to? Okay, thank you for that.
And since we're looking at the advisory boards, one of the advisory boards,
Mhm.
it really isn't. How many are there? 2, 4, 6, 8. So 1 or 2 of the advisory boards, I have no preference. I see I'm the alternate on the library commission. I've been a library commissioner so that would be good. Or also the parks and community service or the emerging leaders, since I work closely with students in my professional day job.
Thank you. And to staff, if I know you have the list in front of you, but could anyone go through, again, I know we have meetings coming up over these between now and the next council meeting. Do you mind just letting us know which meetings are coming up? Would there be any conflicts? Would we still be able to move forward with those meetings that the city has a seat at the table at?
Yes, we can review what meetings are coming up and let you know.
Okay, thank you. So without going any further, I did get some feedback. And again, I just think we should continue this to the next meeting so that we have a full council. So at this time, I'll make a motion to continue this item to our next regular city council meeting. And I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
Please vote. Okay, that motion passes 2-1. And that brings us to reports. The first one is city council reports, but there are no reports to be given today. Second is employee association reports. Do we have any report? Not today. That brings us to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. Just 3 items tonight. First is welcome back. Happy New Year's to everybody. And then the second item, just a reminder that right now we are actually soliciting proposals for the CDBG funding, the NOFA. It is out. So there's some speakers this evening about looking for some grant funding. So that is out for application. And there's also a workshop that is January 5th. That's going to be held at City Hall at 11:30 tomorrow on the workshop. So it's also on our website. And then the third thing is actually we're going to expect some heavy rains next few days. So we are giving out, and this is ongoing, giving out free sand and sandbags at the maintenance yard, Fire Station 2, 48, and 58. So that concludes my presentation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. That brings us to council closing comments for anyone who did not speak earlier in the meeting. We'll have 5 minutes for closing comments, and we will start with Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Okay, I'd like to start my comments with recognizing, since it's Mentor Month, my mentor, Gustavo Segura, who was president of my union. He passed away in August, and I just want to publicly say thank you to him in this month of Mentor Month. So thank you, Gustavo, for teaching me about representation, about being a leader, and about caring about what matters to other people, not just yourself. Secondly, I'd like to say thank you so much for Pete Blacker for coming out. It reminds me of the old times when my mom and dad were here at the dais. Tom Gerald Sr., Pete Blacker, Raul Wilson. Those are the next 3 speakers. So thank you so much. It was very nostalgic to see you. So I appreciate you coming out tonight. I also would like an update on the cameras. I remember when we put in the cameras here at the city and we were able to view them. And last time I did, I guess about a year ago now, I did a tour and some of the cameras were down. So I'd like an update on what's going on with our cameras, citywide cameras. That is concerning for me. I also have a business in the Sundance Plaza. Many businesses in that plaza were broken into over the break. Mine, thankfully, well, there's nothing to take in there. So I guess that's why I'm safe. Also, I'd like to thank Manny Mancha for reducing the red tape. That was one of my mom's number one concerns and one of her biggest projects. And what she was proud of is removing the red tape at City Hall, making it easier for people to come and get business done till we can continue to make those dreams soar. So thank you, Manny, all your staff underneath you. That red tape is difficult for the regular person to maneuver, and you I've met with many people with you there, and I always see that you're willing to go the extra mile, do what we can. Instead of making the dollar, we want to make the business succeed. So I appreciate that. And finally, I guess this is short. I'd like to ask that we close the meeting in Deputy Cordero's honor. As he served our community with honor, I'd like to honor him tonight. That'll be it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have closing comments from Councilmember Bernard.
I'd first like to say Happy New Year to everyone. I'm glad to see us all all of us that have made it to 2023. I also want to give a big shout out to Rancho Verde High School, who, when the need was called upon, stepped up. I don't know if many of you know, but there was a band from Panama that was coming down to perform in the Rose Parade, and their funding fell through. And the Rancho Verde band, as well as their band director and their Rancho Verde Booster Club, assisting with opening up the gym. Mayor Cabrera and myself were able to get them supplies and food so that they could spend the night and stay in the gym. I believe they were there for 8 days. They left today, I believe. So I want to give a shout out to Rancho Verde, as well as Val Verde Unified School District Superintendent McCormick for that. And just in closing, along with Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz, I would like to also close this meeting in memory of Deputy Cordero, who did what he does every single day, which is why I appreciate our men and women in law enforcement. And as a social worker and having to work with them, I understand, because we all go out and things are unpredictable, and what happened shouldn't have happened. So I want to make sure that we close this meeting in memory of him, and just to make sure that we send our love, our light, and our prayers to his family during this very difficult time, along with his RSA family out in Jurupa Valley and just all of RSA. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. And for my closing comments, first, just a happy new year to everyone. Feliz Año Nuevo. It's good to be back here at the council chambers. I hope everyone enjoyed the holidays. Hope you had a safe travels. I know there were some issues going on with air travel and winter weather, but I hope everybody was safe, made it back home safe and sound to their families. I would also like to just acknowledge Public Speaker Michelle Irving, who came here tonight. You heard from her during public comments regarding her nonprofit and I'll call it a community center that you are putting together there at the Paris Pavilion. I was able to actually tour it. As she mentioned, we did a toy drive just a couple of weeks ago before Christmas. And I just want to say that I appreciate what you're doing, because if anyone gets opportunity to go see it for yourself, it's absolutely amazing what she's doing over there. And I know you're going to be able to help a lot of the youth in the area. So I think it's a very good location, and hats off to Manny Mancha and all of staff as well for figuring out a way to get that done. So thank you for that. Also, hats off to Councilmember Bernard, as she mentioned, the group from Panama, the youth who came for the Rose Parade, and that had to stay at Rancho Verde High School, for taking that initiative and, making sure that they have what they need as much as possible. So kudos to you for, taking the initiative and the leadership on that. Thank you for that. At the next council meeting, I'm going to bring forth an official item to propose and initiate an official Moreno Valley art mural program. As I mentioned before, one of the things that I would love to see in the city is an expansion of our public art, especially murals around the city, and especially get the community involved, get feedback from the community. So that's something that I'll be bringing forth at the next council meeting. I just wanted to briefly mention that right now. In regards to homelessness, we did have a local nonprofit owner, Mr. Benjamin Schuler, come out here tonight and speak about his facility once again. And in February, we're going to have a study session regarding homelessness, as the council approved a little over a month ago. And some of the things that we will go into include services for the homeless, housing options for the homeless, and especially grant opportunities that are available. One of the biggest hurdles for governments to put in place programs, any kind of programs, is always funding. And fortunately, right now, the state of California and the city of Moreno Valley finds ourselves in a place where there is significant amount of funding available from whether it's the governor's office or the state legislature that was approved in the budget for several different types of grants. So there's a huge opportunity for us to secure funding and pursue some of that funding. So look forward to diving more in detail into that in February. There also would like to mention that the point in time count is coming up at the end of this month. Don't have the exact date off the top of my head, but it is coming up toward the end of January. So I know that they're looking for volunteers, and our city staff, the council always does an amazing job of turning out to that event to make sure that we go out into the community and we count and enumerate the homeless population that's living in Moreno Valley. So I only bring it up to put a call out to volunteers. If anyone is out there listening, just know that the point in time count is coming up at the end of January, and it welcomes volunteers to come out and help us. So if anyone would like to come out with us, please make sure to reach out. We'll get you the information, and we would love to see you out there with us as well. You have the date? Thank you. January 25th through the 27th is the point in time count here in Moreno Valley. Brian?
Actually, just to clarify, the COC point in time count for volunteers who are going to count that morning is January 25th. There is a youth count that is 3 days, but the initial count of homeless that are unsheltered is going to be the morning of January 25th.
Perfect. Thank you, Brian. And last but not least, there was an unfortunate event, a very, very unfortunate, tragic event that happened recently regarding Deputy Isaiah Cordero of the Riverside Sheriff's Department, untimely passing in a tragic incident that happened. And it's never easy to lose a life, especially at such a young age. And so definitely echo the requests and fully support the request to close this meeting in honor of Deputy Cordero. And also, just to give final remarks, I have asked Chief Reichel if he would come up and share a few remarks in honor of Deputy Cordero. Chief.
Mayor, thank you, council, staff, citizens of Moreno Valley. Last week, we suffered a tremendous loss losing Deputy Cordero, and I just wanted to thank the community for coming out and supporting us. We've received a number of items at the police station to show support to my staff and to the deputies out there working in the field. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you. Deputy Cordero is going to be missed by all of us. He didn't have an opportunity to work here in the city of Moreno Valley, but he worked all over Riverside County within the jails and at different patrol stations, and his last station at Harupa. And we thank you for your support. The men and women of the Riverside County Sheriff's Department do this every day, and it means a lot when you guys come out and show your support and love. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And at this time, we will adjourn tonight's meeting in honor and memory of Riverside County Sheriff's Deputy Isaiah Cordero. Adjourn the meeting here tonight at 8:13 p.m. Thank you.